Marianne Emma Jeff, Success Coach here, bringing you resources, tips, and strategies to define, enhance, and attain your vision of success. Tame technology and develop regular systems, habits, and routines to increase the visibility and the profitability of your business. If you're ready to get into consistent evolutionary action online and in person and bring everything together for your business, you're in the right place. Hello everybody, and welcome to night 6. Only one night left. That 6 sounded really weird, didn't it? Like I was being tortured while I said it, but it was excitement, I promise you. I'm having such a great time doing this, and what we're doing, in case you're joining us for the first time, is 7 nights of success, and this is night 6. We have one more left. And it's a 7-part series designed to show you how to use Deepak Chopra's powerful book entitled The 7 Spiritual Laws of Success as part of your success toolkit for your personal and for your professional life and your business. So each of these 7 20-minute talks are designed to be brief. That's the whole goal behind doing 20 minutes, because you're busy and I just want to keep it to the point. So they're brief and they're simple and they're introductions to really bringing the concepts and the ideas into your life and getting you into what I love, which is evolutionary action, and getting you into routine. And incidentally, if you've been listening at 8 o'clock every night, boy, is that a great way to get into a routine, too, of doing something a little different at 8 o'clock every night. If you've been maybe just sitting down in front of the TV right away and you've been wishing that you could do something or that you could get into the habit of doing something else, scheduling something like this for yourself is a really powerful way to begin to shift that and to do it, every night to start with, as we've been doing. It's fabulous. It really turns things around. So tonight we're going to be exploring the 6th law, and it's the law of detachment. And don't worry, if you haven't listened to the other ones, it's fine. It will still make complete sense. They don't build on each other. They're all very separate, the laws, although they're all very intertwined. And you can go ahead and listen to the ones that we already did by going, the easiest way is to go to my website. You can go to motivatemyself.com. Right in the middle of the page, there's a really pretty brunette lady. It's not me. I'm the redhead. And it says 7 Nights of Success. Click there. It's going to take you to the blog with the links to all the recordings from the past nights. And so that's the blog. Once you get there, that's the link to share with anyone that you want to share this gift with, because this is my gift to you. We're keeping it to 20 minutes, so if you have questions, write them down, and then you can go ahead and post them on my fan page for my business, which is Motivate Myself on Facebook. And there it is on the screen on the slide. And on the left-hand side, if you're watching the webinar right now, there's a button you can click, and it'll take you right to the Motivate Myself page, and you can go ahead and click it and like me. You'll make me feel so good, and make friends with me. I'm friendly, as you've probably guessed already. And that's a great place to stay in the loop. I post lots of great workshops and events I do. I have the Foundation course, which is an annual workshop I offer to really support you in putting together a solid, authentic game plan for your business and including your life at the beginning of every year. So that's all that good stuff. Let's get into the law of detachment, which I feel like I am living this evening, and I will divulge why a little bit later. So the law of detachment, and Deepak has this great introduction to it at the beginning of the chapter. And once again, before I forget, I'm going to encourage you, read the chapters as well. It only takes 15 minutes at the most to read each one, but there's so much more in them than I can possibly get into. And I also think that it takes a lot of reading over and over again to really get all the nuances and the depth. It's like an onion. Every time I read the chapters, I still get more and more out of it, so I really encourage you to do that. But his definition, his little introduction to detachment is, In detachment lies the wisdom of uncertainty. In the wisdom of uncertainty lies the freedom from our past, from the unknown, from the known, which is the prison of past conditioning. And in our willingness to step into the unknown, the field of all possibilities, we surrender ourselves to the creative mind that orchestrates the dance of the universe. It's really beautiful the way he puts it, really beautiful. And he goes on to say, in order to acquire anything in the physical universe, you have to relinquish your attachment to it. And this doesn't mean you give up the intention to create your desire. You don't give up the intention and you don't give up the desire. You give up your attachment to the results is what he's talking about. And it's interesting, he has some ingredients which he usually has for attachment. And for him, he points out that attachment is based on fear, insecurity, and the need for security is based on not knowing the true self. Not knowing the true self. So attachment is based on fear, insecurity, and the need for security is based on not knowing the true self. And when you think about that, that's pretty powerful, that the antidote is to know yourself. Well, it doesn't cost anything to begin to notice and raise your awareness. That's pretty doable action. You're with yourself 24/7, so there's no getting away from it. You might as well do some learning while you're on this journey, right? I think that's very empowering. What I call that knowing yourself, I call it knowing what makes you tick. And knowing yourself, you've probably heard me say this before, but it's one of the most valuable investments you can make to really spend, if it's time or money, and having someone help you figure it out. But it's one of the most valuable investments you can make, and it's gonna reward you in every area of your life. If you know yourself better in your personal life, if you get to the bottom of some of your habits and your behavior, you're going to be able to use that. You're going to be able to use that shift in your professional life as well. So it's really powerful. Our core, our true nature, knows exactly what it needs. So your GPS system, right, really knows exactly what it needs. And Deepak reminds us that when you don't know yourself, what you end up doing is chasing symbols. And what he means by symbols is clothes, that great pair of shoes, the shiny metal objects, I like to call it too. And these symbols, all they do is they fill, and they try to fill or to what's the word? They try to fill, they try to satiate. That's the word I was looking for. These needs that we have. And so often we'll try to fill a need, for example, for success or feeling good, with these toys, with these shiny metal objects. But the problem is that it's being satiated, the feeling of being taken care of and full. When we do it in this way, it's only fleeting. It feels good, and then the need's still unmet afterwards. A great book that I think I've recommended already during this course, but I'm going to recommend it again, is Louise Hay, You Can Heal Your Life. And the reason I refer to it right now is because in the beginning of the book, she shares that whatever a client comes to her with, right, whether it's weight loss or money issues, health, whatever, or difficulty relating to a spouse, marriage, whatever it is, it always comes down to the same thing. The same thing. And what that is loving yourself. Okay? And some of you might be on the call going, oh yeah, I love myself. It's not a problem. And maybe you do. Maybe you do. And if you do, I am just so happy for you. But I have to just plant the seed that even if you think you do, you have a really happy, healthy relationships in your life. I have a great relationship with my husband. We really work as a great team to raise up our daughter. I guess it depends on how she's behaving, whose daughter she is. So we really work well together, and there's a lot of love. I was raised with a lot of love. So when I read this, I thought, well, that's nice, but not for me. But I went ahead and I went through the questions that she has at the front of the book anyway, and I realized that, you know what, there was some challenges, and when I really got it down to the essence, well, what's that, and drilled down, if you know what I mean by that, I came down to loving myself. So there was room. Maybe even if you're feeling great and your life feels pretty good right now, there might still be a little room for that. So I just want to really throw that out there for you to play with. What's the worst thing that can happen? You end up loving yourself more. That's hardly a bad thing, right? There's always room for more love. And the interesting thing is that so now what she does is, Louise, hey, whenever anyone comes to work on her, she doesn't work on anything else. That's what she works on with them. It doesn't matter what they come to her for. She goes right to the source and handles that, and then everything else just takes care of itself. Well, that's pretty beautiful. If you've got, challenge maybe with your weight, if you're challenged with your money, if you're challenged with your health, instead of trying to tackle each one separately, going ahead and just really getting to the source and just putting all your focus, all your intention on that, and then everything else is just alleviated. It's almost like it's pivotal, and everything else just is taken care of when you take care of the source. I might even do a 20-minute talk, actually, on her book, because it is such a powerful book. Now, when I first work with clients, I think I mentioned, too, that I have them identify their power words, what I call the power words. And what these words are some of them end up being core values, things that are just a part of who they are, and some of them are things that they really need, that drive them, right? And knowing this, knowing what their power words are, and then looking at which ones are the core values and which ones are the needs, I can help them on their journey. I can help them figure out what makes them tick, and we can use that as we're going through the coaching together. We can bring that into, any goals they're after, because needs drive us, right? And if we don't acknowledge them and accept them as part of who we are, they're going to drive us anyway. So if we don't acknowledge them, it's almost like they run rampant, and they can get met in really unhealthy ways. I mean, that is a way that you can get, you can look at addiction is an unhealthy way to meet a need. It's not the only thing. I'm not suggesting that there aren't also physical dependencies and other factors involved. I'm not a specialist on addiction, but there, in some cases, some unhealthy addictions could be driven by your needs just kind of going rampant on yourself. And so what you can also do is, if you heighten your awareness, if you know what makes you tick, you know what your needs are, you know what drives you, you can use this knowledge to your advantage. For example, if you were to have a need for attention, like someone that's talking right now, who shall remain nameless, you can ignore that need, and you can let it really run rampant, and seek out in unhealthy ways. You might drink too much and dance on the table. I don't know anybody that's done that. Or you could acknowledge and be aware of that need as a part of who you are and what motivates you. And you could find healthy ways to get attention, like pursuing acting or running webinars maybe, huh? A really big part of detachment, you see here, is acknowledging your needs and accepting them. Of course, in a loving, kind, non-judgmental way, right?